Lucasfilm Limited. And here we go with the Star Wars Episode 1 watch commentary, The Phantom Menace. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Let's see. There we go, Star Wars. And this is Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Turmoil has engulfed the Galactic Republic. The taxation of trade routes to outlying star systems is in dispute. Notice how simple this is for 12-year-olds. Hoping to resolve the matter with a blockade of deadly battleships, the greedy Trade Federation has stopped all shipping to the small planet of Naboo. While the Congress of the Republic endlessly debates this alarming chain of events, the Supreme Chancellor has secretly dispatched 2 Jedi Knights, the guardians of peace and justice in the galaxy, to settle the conflict. And here we see again how simple this is. It's a 12-year-old could understand it. It's designed for a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old. And if you can't understand what's going on, if you can't follow it, then so be it. It's not for you. And here we go. Opening shot scene here is the ship entering in from our left, approaching a mysterious robed figure. Oh, here we go, the Trade Federation. Ah, yes, of course. As you know, our blockade is perfectly legal. Yes, this is a classic voice acting by whoever's playing those Trade Federation. And then here's this ship here for the Trade Federation, the mothership, the control ship. Here we see these B-1 droids, and these are the new stormtroopers. Man, look at that. Great sets, beautiful sets. This is a droid, like a TC-14. And the droids always stand in for humans. They're servants, they're slaves in this universe. Hooded figures. These Jedi. We know that they're Jedi, secretly on a mission sent from the Supreme Chancellor. Off come the hoods. Classic line. I have a bad feeling about this. And here we see the relationship between the master and the teacher. A lesson in the Force, a lesson on how to concentrate, talking about Master Yoda, referencing the instruction Obi-Wan received from, and we know this is Obi-Wan Kenobi. We know, again, this is a spoiler-filled commentary, but I'm going to be careful as to how I do it. I don't want to overdo the spoilers. I love these 2 characters here, the Trade Federation. And this is a morality play, morality tale by George Lucas as well. Distract them. Go in there, distract them. Now here we see these Jedi are feared. They're not to be underestimated, as we'll learn later. And they're asking, they're questioning. This is very much in the style of an old-time Western. I think you see a lot of this, where these guys are sitting down, having a drink, and a lot of conversation, a lot of politics in this one. Oh, and here comes the hologram. Lord Sidious. The blockade is finished. We dare not go against these Jedi. I don't want this stunted slime in my sight again. This turn of events is unfortunate. We must accelerate our plan. Begin landing your troops. There's a question of legality. I will make it legal. Lord Sidious. Hooded figure. Can't even see his eyes. Partially hidden. his face. Kill them immediately. Here we see the first mate, Captain, look, the captain calls for the shields, too late. The ship blows up. That model was built just to be destroyed. It was on camera for a little while and then they blew it up. A lot of practical effects in this, miniatures, models, more holograms here. Here we see the B-1 droids, their effectiveness, their communication style, and this line is introduced. Uh-oh. You'll hear this line over and over in this. Uh-oh. Roger, roger. Here we go. Uh-oh, there it is. And then these droids, straight out of the Three Stooges. Comical, and as George said, the Jedi cut them down like butter. And we see the power of the Jedi here. They can have a force push. They're wielding lightsabers. The poison gas came in. They held their breath. So we know they're not impervious to poison gas. They're cutting them down like butter, all right. And here he's cutting through the blast doors now. Obi-Wan's tearing up these droids. Man, the choreography in this for the sword fighting, the saber battling is just amazing. This is top of the line. The music, top of the line. John Williams, top of his game. He says that'll hold him. I want those droid decars up here at once. And here it comes. They're still coming through, and hear the music. This is impossible. And when I saw this in the theaters, I was almost jumping out of my seat. I saw Star Wars in 1977 at the age of 10 in theaters. And when I saw this one in 1999 at the age of 32, it was just incredible. I'd never seen anything like it. And here they go. The droid decars, the destroyers, they have a force shield, a force field around them. Okay. Let's see now. The Jedi have calmed down out of the air vent. They've noticed this invasion army. There's a little bit of planning going on here. Interaction between master and teacher. We see Obi-Wan is the student. And here he sees a line. He's got a quip, a funny line here. Another classic line from the prequels. And here comes Queen Amidala. At last we are getting results. And here we say, again, you come before us, your highness. You will not be so pleased when you hear what I have to say, Viceroy. Your trade boycott of our planet has ended. I was not aware of such failure. Look at the costumes. Look at the acting. Look at this acting here by the Queen. I'm going to say it right now. I will be repeating this throughout. Natalie Portman does a great job in the roles that she's playing, and you need to watch. Pay close attention to every scene where the Queen is in each scene. And they're discussing politics, the Senate, a manipulating of reality, bending of the truth, lying. They want to keep this invasion a secret. But is it possible? Now here, they're meeting with a hologram of Senator Palpatine, and he spoke to the Chancellor. We've got a group of people standing around. The hologram is in and out. Senator Palpatine. And again, the Queen, Tanaka, this guy here, he's a governor. And that guy, the bearded guy right there, and they're talking about the Senate will revoke their trade franchise. Negotiations. We've lost all communication. This guy's the new Admiral Akbar. We've lost all communication. And where are the Chancellor's ambassadors? And some exposition here to explain what's going on. Our volunteer security forces are no match for the battle-hardened Federation droid army. Clearly, we know who's the bad guy in this. The greedy Trade Federation. Come on, greed. The greed, the love of money, it's the root of all evil. Of course we know these guys are the bad guys. Who's not going to follow this? Who's bored with this? Trade routes, flying ships, invasion, droid armies. Look at this. How is this boring? Who's not following this? What 12-year-old, what 10-year-old's not going to follow this? These are the bad guys. And here come more communications. Viceroy. We're identifying now. These two people are in charge of the B-1 droids, the Federation droid army. They're warning them against the Jedi. Use caution. And here we see one of the most iconic characters in movie history. And here's Qui-Gon. He's about to encounter Jar Jar Binks. And here are the first words. Get out of here. The first words uttered by Jar Jar are screams and yelling. He's scared. And Qui-Gon tells him to get out of here. First line, get out of here. And now look what they're doing. They're destroying the nature. You almost got us killed. You're brainless. I spake. The ability to speak does not make you intelligent. Again, he tells them, get out of here. Again, pay attention to this. Tells them to get out of here. And Jar Jar has a completely different way of looking at the world and the universe, and his philosophy is different from the Jedi's. But he's loyal. And what's this? It's a local. More do you speak? Excuse me. Classic line. And then he tells him about the Gungan city. It's where I grew up. It's a hidden city. He knows where this city is. Uh-huh. Can you take us there? On second thought, no. Now, Jar Jar is the every person in this. He talks like a regular guy. Look, he's afraid now. He says, well, I forgot. I've actually been banished. If I go back, they're going to do terrible things to me. Do you hear that? Yeah. Jar Jar's a regular guy. Here he is. The two Jedi are we got somewhat of a humorous moment here. They will grind us up, blast us into oblivion. Your point is well said. And here we see Jar Jar, somewhat of a humorous character, but he's intelligent. He has agency. He has a voice. He's going to take them now to the Gungan city where he grew up, from which he's been banished. And we see his athletic ability, leaps into the water, and they put a lot of work into Jar Jar Binks, this character, played by Ahmed Best. And here go the Jedi into the water. A lot of different locations, shots, scenes, sets, costumes, CGI. When they filmed this, now look at this here. Again, the chief designer on this, the concept artist and one of the designers, the chief designer, Doug Chiang. His last name is spelled Chiang, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Doug Chiang. He's talked a lot about this city that was designed. It's an underwater city, and they have these kind of force fields. So the Gungans are a high-tech civilization. And here Obi-Wan is experiencing this as they both walk through. Kind of some water still left on them. Now here, look at these Gungans over here to the right, screen right. And you'll see them, and they're saying something to each other. And they're like, oh, look at this. And it's a whole language. All these Gungans, everything, everywhere you look, there's something to see, something to hear. And here comes Captain Tarpus. Misa back. Oh, not again, Jar Jar. Oh, no. And here we see this, I'm looking at this as Gilligan and the skipper. Jar Jar's the Gilligan. Wow, look at that. He shocks him with the poker. Jar Jar has agency. Look at that. He shrugs it off. He doesn't want to be humiliated. He doesn't want to be stabbed, poked, prodded like an animal. And here the bosses. Listen to the music. Mysterious, eerie. almost kind of spooky. We don't like the Naboos. Here we see their relationship, the two societies. Clip back over to Jar Jar. He's handcuffed. Now here comes Obi-Wan. He's going to try to explain it. But the costuming on this and all these bosses are CGI mostly, I would imagine. And here Obi-Wan, we see, is impulsive and to try to explain this to the bosses. We don't care about the Naboo. He uses the Jedi mind trick. But we could use a transport. And Qui-Gon's style of using the Jedi mind trick is really casual. Whereas Obi-Wan's method and technique, the technique rather for using it in the original trilogy seems to be more straightforward and forceful. And it doesn't seem like the Gungans are all that weak-minded, although the Jedi mind trick does seem to have worked to a certain degree. Okay, here Jar Jar's trying to get out of being locked up, trying to get on the transport with them. We'll need a navigator, and here we see some part of Qui-Gon that we haven't seen yet, and that is compassion. And Qui-Gon seems to be compassionate. I saved his life. He owes me what you would call a life debt. Your God's demand. His life belongs to me now. And I don't know if he was going to try to use the Jedi mind trick there or if he was just using reason. Yes, I have that, the life play. And he shakes his mouth. Be gone with him. And that's the end of it. And they leave. And now Jar Jar says, what am I? I'm crazy. Oh my goodness. And then here he is playing the middle guy for comic relief in between these two Jedi. And here they go out of this Gungan city in their bunko. It's a transport through the planet core. Man, look at that. Underwater now. We went from space to land to underwater. And here Jar Jar's story. We see a little bit of Jar Jar's character, his personality, and also we learn of his history. He was banished for being clumsy. And then when the Jedi ask him, Obi-Wan says, you were banished for being clumsy? And now listen to the music. Here comes a big fish to chase him. One or two accidentes. You'd say, bumdiasa, then crash into boss's hay giver, then banished. So in other words, he tells the whole story. He did something to one of the boss's vehicles. Uh-oh. Oh boy, look at that big fish. Now look, who's not following this? How is this complicated? How is this boring? Well, I mean, how long did we need to talk about trade routes? For 1 second in the title crawl, the opening title crawl, one line to set it up? Here's another classic line. There's always a bigger fish. Qui-Gon is always delivering these one-liners. And then, of course, same with Jar Jar. I think we should go back now. And here we see the control ship again. And now they're reporting to Lord Sidious, who says the Senate, he has the Senate bogged down in procedure. Now again, Ian McDermott, pay attention to every single scene with the Lord Sidious. Pay attention to every single scene with any character in this. And then we see Ian McDermott, and he's playing a heavy-duty scene right there. Pay attention to Ian McDermott in this movie. And I got some spoilers, but I'm not going to spoil it all. Just pay attention to Ian McDermott in this movie. And don't worry, the Force will guide us. We see the philosophy here of Qui-Gon. He's a don't worry, the Force will guide us kind of a guy. Takes a lot of chances, and he lives as though, don't worry, the Force will guide us. Well, meanwhile, what yet? We're not in trouble yet. Obi-Wan seems to be somewhat more practical than Qui-Gon. Maybe a little bit pragmatic, whereas Qui-Gon is, again, I've observed more of a don't worry, the Force will guide us kind of a personality. And Obi-Wan is, we overdid it. Oh boy, there he goes. Now, I don't know if he gave him a nerve pinch or calmed him down or something, but here goes another fish, another giant sea creature. Boy, this is tailor-made for a ride at Disneyland, I'll bet you. Star Tours #2. Head for that outcropping. And then look at Jar Jar. Oh boy. Well, he's just a regular guy. Jar Jar is like if you were a regular guy and you came and sat down and were part of the adventure. Now here we transition quickly to land again. The grass, this industrialized troop these troops marching in. Here's the Queen standing at the window. There's the famous electrical cord scene, as you can see. The tanks rolling in, very much reminiscent of calling back to the Nazis taking over, invading France, Poland, so on and so forth, back in the 30s. And now here we see this bunco, this transport, heading out, coming up now, approaching the city, above water now. This is Leverly, so they comment on how beautiful it is. They get out of the ship. Look at that. Gorgeous. And then here, this governor again, doing a lot of the talking, the voice of the government. And they're talking about the Queen here. Notice the Queen. Pay close attention to the Queen in all of these scenes. And I will tell you this. If you look at the handmaids here, you will see very closely, pay close attention. They did very specific casting on these handmaidens. And then here we see they're marching them to be processed to the camps where they will be imprisoned, I'm assuming. And the music, again, right on the money. John Williams, top of his game. Him and George Lucas working together, top of their game. And here comes Qui-Gon, here comes Obi-Wan, here comes Jar Jar. Again, here's Ahmed Best. He's wearing a suit. And then later they replace the suit. Oh, here comes Jar Jar. He's hanging. There he goes. And we've already seen Jar Jar has athletic ability. He can. And then in goes the saber. And we saw there was a CG shot there where the saber just disappeared as it went under his cloak. Now here's the shot right here where we come around. Pay attention. One of these handmaidens dressed in orange comes around the corner laughing, joking, and then gets real serious right there. You can see. And pay attention to that actress. And here's this guy again, this governor. Captain Tanaka, you have transports. Now we've got to move to the transport area. Pay attention to the Queen and pay attention to the handmaidens. Captain Tanaka does a lot in here by way of exposition, and pay attention to the Queen, pay attention to the handmaidens here. And they're voicing their concerns here. And again, the Phantom Menace. There's something else behind all of this. My feelings tell me they will destroy you. The Senate, Senator Palpatine will need your help. Pay attention to the Queen and to the handmaids. And this is very important. And you need to pay attention to Natalie Portman in this movie. Natalie Portman does a great job, and she's doing a wonderful job. She's a great actress. And the last time I saw Natalie Portman was in Heat, Michael Mann's Heat. That was a good movie, where she played the character that's portrayed by Al Pacino. She played his daughter. And now, here we see the droids. Where are you taking them? To Coruscant, he says. To Coruscant. That doesn't compute. You're under arrest. It's very comical, kind of low stakes, but they have weapons, and they, as George said, they cut them down like they're butter. They're the new stormtrooper. And this is a rated PG movie. So there are people that are going to get killed. They reference people being killed. We see people being killed. We see the droids standing in for people being killed. But it's low stakes and somewhat humorous because they're droids and they're not actually people. And so George is able to make a movie where the people are actually droids. And here we see the agency again of Jar Jar and the interaction between Jar Jar and the Jedi and the humans. Here's another character's classic Recolii. And then the blockade is coming up. They've got to get past this blockade. It's all explained. It's a great script. How's this not exciting? Here go the droids to fix the shield generator, and classic introduction of R2-D2. Right there. Bumps into Jar Jar, and here go the Astro droids. They're getting blown away. Their job is to be expendable. Again, these are the ones, the droids, they represent human beings, servants, slaves, and they're expendable. And it's their job to get out the outside of the ship and fix this hyperdrive, the shield generator, anything else that's malfunctioning on the ship. As we'll see, the hyperdrive will be coming up. It's not working. The hyperdrive is leaking. Now he's fixed the power drive that powers the shield. So they're able to get through the blockade. The hyperdrive is leaking. There's not enough power to get us to Coruscant. So they have to go to another planet because there's not enough power to get them to Coruscant. But look at the acting. The acting here is serious. They're in a mode here of showing us concern while also showing us competence. They're competent, they're skilled, but they're concerned. Listen to the music, the transition. And here we see the hologram of Lord Sidious. And listen to the music. Oh, I want that treaty signed. Again, pay attention to every single scene with the Emperor here, the Sidious, as we see for the later movies. We recognize this as the Emperor. He will find your lost ship, and not for a Sith. And now here another classic line. This is getting out of hand. Now there are two of them. Now, we should not have made this bargain. So he made a bargain with Lord Sidious. Now he's regretting it. And again, we're going to be introduced to R2-D2 at this point. Yes, it is to be commended. Pay attention to the Queen and pay attention to the handmaids. R2-D2. We learn the name, the identification number of the most iconic droid in Star Wars history next to C-3PO. Padme. Clean this droid up as best you can. It deserves our gratitude. Continue, Captain. And he defers to the Jedi. We're headed to Tatooine with your permission. And notice how there's disagreement here. And Captain Tanaka and the Jedi, they're all having this disagreement as to where they're going to go. Here comes Jar Jar now. Now here Jar Jar meets this handmaid, Padme. And he says, I'm Jar Jar Binks. You're a Gungan, aren't you? How did you end up here with us? Now, we can read from this, as I am, they don't know each other, and she's never met a Gungan. It doesn't look like. She's probably only seen them. He tells her how he got there. He doesn't know. It seems to be almost an accident. He was having breakfast. Next thing you know, he's grabbing a Jedi. Next thing you know, he's here. This comes into play later. So here they're going to land on the outskirts so as not to bring any attention to themselves. And this will come into play as well, as we'll see. Again, some spoilers here because they have to meet up with Anakin Skywalker on this planet of Tatooine. Okay, here goes Qui-Gon. The hyperdrive generator is gone. That will complicate things. Don't let them send any transmissions. He's very clear. This is really good writing. Here we see Jar Jar and Qui-Gon and R2. They're being held up now by Captain Tanaka. And we see handmaid. Her handmaiden. Her Highness commands you to take her handmaiden with you. No more commands. The Queen wishes it. Okay, Captain Tanaka's explaining it. There's a heavy sigh from Qui-Gon. It's not a good idea. Stay close to me. Qui-Gon's not happy. We got a look from a thoughtful look, if you call it that, from Tanaka. Here goes Jar Jar, Qui-Gon, handmaiden, Padme, and R2. Moisture farms. He's explaining the environment. Look at these sets that were built. I think they're on location in Tunisia. Here's a classic scene, one of the greatest scenes ever in movie history. Serious. They don't want to be seen. People like us. Oh, sticky goo, classic. Who doesn't love that? Who doesn't love that? Who thinks that's boring? Who's not able to follow that? Okay, here we see it's a heavy-duty spaceport type of a town, but it's not Mos Eisley. Here is one of the smaller dealers. Good day to you. What do you want? Now, Watto is a classic. He's an all-time classic. Boy, get in here now, he says. Okay, here comes Anakin Skywalker. And look at this kid, man. Jake Lloyd deserves an Oscar. Just watch him. Just look at this kid. Take you out back. Okay, he pulls this out of Jar Jar's hand. Jar Jar doesn't like it, see? He's going to give it back. Jar Jar's got agency. He's got his own thing he's going to do. Never mind what that Jedi said. He's going to do it anyways. Now, here's the first line ever delivered from Anakin to this handmaiden, Padme. And this kid is a great actor. I don't know how old he is when he did this, but he deserves an Oscar. Just watch it. One of the most iconic characters ever. Now, look at this big robot in the back, just moving his head around. I love to watch these Star Wars movies and see all of the props, all of the miniatures, all of the practical effects and sets that they have going on in this movie. And then I read somewhere, and I heard, actually it was a video on Revenge of the Prequels by Anomaly Inc., and you'll see this on YouTube, where it's a couple of places I saw this. And here's Jar Jar playing around with one of these pit droids, straight out of the Three Stooges. And that is that George Lucas hired Carrie Fisher to help him with the dialogue on the Phantom Menace. And this has been recorded and documented in several places. Again, these power droids, or rather these pit droids, they're really strong. And then Watto is explaining to Qui-Gon how he can't find this part anywhere else. And by the way, how are you going to pay for it? With Republic credits. That's not going to do any good, he says. I need something more real. No, they won't do any good. And he uses the Jedi mind trick. Oh, what do you think? You're some kind of a Jedi waving your hand around like that? He says, I'm a Tridarian. Mind tricks don't work on me, only money. So when I saw this in the theaters, I was looking like, well, okay, now he points out nobody else has the parts. Nobody else has the parts. He gives him like an irritated smile. It's like, yeah, whatever. He leaves. And here goes he telling a little story about himself and Watto. Oh, Jar Jar. Jar Jar. Okay, so here we see Jar Jar Binks is basically Roger Rabbit, and which makes Qui-Gon basically Eddie Valiant. And a lot of people didn't like it. I loved it. I love it still. Jar Jar is one of the funniest characters. Here we see Watto and Anakin, Outlanders. They think we know nothing. Well, they seem nice to me. Look at this kid, man. What an actor. Clean the racks, then you can go home. Yippee! And Watto gives a look, a thoughtful look. And here we see Obi-Wan communicating with Qui-Gon. They're looking for something to barter with for the parts. And then here's Qui-Gon's philosophy. Don't worry, the Force will guide us. I'm sure another solution will present itself. And then here's the realist, the real person, the every person, Jar Jar. We're going to be robbed and crunched. And this plays, kind of calls back to, oh, here's a classic encounter here. And this plays into the story. Oh, he's going to grab this food. Hey, you got to pay for that? Huh? Pay for that? It costs 7 whoopee. 7 whoopee, spits it out. Oh, chupa. Classic. He says, whoops. That's a classic. Oh, he says, is this yours? Who, me? Oh, he's got to choke him. Oh no, here comes Anakin to save the day. Now here we see this kind of person Anakin is, as George Lucas, the maker, introduces us to Anakin by showing us that he's a friend and a helper. And if you weren't a slave, I'd squash you now. So we see how Sebulba would like to squash him. He'd actually like to hurt him bad. But he can't do it because he's a slave. He'd have to pay for him. Nevertheless, the boy's right. You're heading into trouble. Now here, Jar Jar gets a little upset at this. But Misa doing nothing. Uh-oh, it's a storm coming up. And the storm will slow him down. And then Tanaka, receiving a message from home. They've already been instructed not to answer any messages, not to send any messages. So we know what's going to happen here. It's providing a little tension. Here we see where Anakin discovers the lightsaber. And I saw this lady later in one of the commentaries. She doesn't look anything like that or talk anything like that or act anything like that. It's amazing, these actors, they got to play this stuff. So Anakin is going to invite them to his place. And the work they'd had to do with R2-D2, sometimes it's Kenny Baker in there, and other times it's a robot, remote controlled. And here's a shudder that they give. That's a good one there by Anakin. Comes in out of the wind and the cold, kind of shakes himself off. These are my friends, Mom. I'm Qui-Gon Jinn. The introduction. We're introduced to Anakin by saying that he is a person that calls the strangers his friends. Look at that little robot on the left. What is that design there? It's a statue. There's a trackball racket up there hanging up. C-3PO. Not quite finished. Oh, the voice of Sir Anthony Daniels. And here this C-3PO is brought to life by puppeteers who are handling this puppet on sticks, and then they themselves are wearing green unitards. They're the green men. And this is a puppet. And it's voiced by Sir Anthony Daniels, but it's operated and given life by puppeteers. C-3PO, human cyborg relations. And here we go, R2-D2. And classic dialogue here, banter. My parts are showing. My goodness. And R2 laughs at him, of course. Classic R2-D2. The death toll. Here they are answering messages. And we know that They are not to reply to any messages. Sounds like bait to establish a connection trace. What if it is true and the people are dying? There's a lot of mystery here. Mystery box, so to speak. And here we see the planet Coruscant again. It's one big city. And what are we going to see? Two mysterious figures lurking. Evil. We know these guys are the bad guys. Who's not following this? Well, how is this confusing to anybody? Somebody's still confused about trade routes? At last we will have revenge. You have been well trained, my young apprentice. Look at the camera on this, man. What a direction. Beautiful, gorgeous. Who doesn't get this? Who's not following this? Now here's a great scene that reminds me of another Western, classic Western, a John Ford Western. And they kind of explain their world, their life as slaves. And this is a classic line from Jar Jar. How rude! The Republic's anti-slavery laws, the Republic doesn't exist out here. And everybody's irritated with Jar Jar. He kind of does his own thing, sets it up for what we're about to see here. Very fast, very dangerous. I'm the only human that can do it. And here we see Jedi reflexes, grabs his tongue, irritated, don't do that again. Classic cartoon character. He says, you're a Jedi Knight, aren't you? What makes you think that, he says. It's his response. Now, the music in here, it's touching and it's heart-drawing. And it's uplifting as well. And here we see some foreshadowing. I wish that were so. Anakin talks about his dream. No, very clear. Look at the actors. Look at the direction here. Look at how they are looking, the camera position, the point of view of the camera. It makes it very clear as to what we're looking at, who's looking at which direction, and where everybody's sitting at the table. Camera, direction. Now here they explain everything that's going on in a few seconds. Our ship was damaged. And here is young Jake Lloyd acting with Ahmed Best at this table. And here we're going to see young Jake Lloyd mouth a line that Ahmed Best is saying at the table. And you'll see this in just a minute. As he sees Jar Jar mouth the line, and then he will mouth the line himself. And then it seems that Jar Jar does this in another line, in another scene. And now they're talking again about showing Anakin's character. Showing his character by seeing that he's a giving person. Wants to give of his own life, to sacrifice his own life and energy for his friends. He's very much a Christ-like figure, if you want to look at it as that, in that way. He's a lot of things. And here we see, watch this, R2 still in the background. I may not like it, but he can help you. He was meant to help you. And look at this kind of a close-up on Qui-Gon's face. Transition wipe. Here we see some words coming up. You sure about this? And here, now watch Jar Jar. Watch Jar Jar. And I think that is put in there by George as a way to demonstrate that Jar Jar is actually there and that he is mouthing lines much as Jake Lloyd did in the other scene. And he left it in there to show that it's Jar Jar's actually there, which he's not. Of course, one take would have been done by Ahmed Best, and then they would have shot the next take without Ahmed. So they can do a lot with CGI. So anything that CGI is done on purpose by the director. And believe me, George sits there during the whole process with every frame to be edited. This is a classic line. Hope you didn't kill anyone that I know, to get it. And he laughs about it. Now look at Jake Lloyd, him as an actor in this scene. Look at this kid, Jake Lloyd. Just watch him as an actor. Look at the set. Look at the design, how we're pulled into the main characters, but the whole scene is filled out with props. Look at the acting here between this little boy and this grown-up man. Look at that. Just the eyes. And here, Jake Lloyd acting with probably a floating ball. Great job. Good job, Jake Lloyd. Now, here are these workers in the background. I wonder what happened to them. Who are they? And I want to know what happened to Kitster also. Anakin's little boyfriend. Little boy who's also his friend. There's something about this boy. So they're going to do this pod race. Here comes the mom. And here we see some compassion on the part of Qui-Gon. And again, he knows nothing of greed. Greed is bad. Anakin is the opposite of bad. He's all good. He is much in the mold of a Christ-like figure. He has Jedi reflexes. They didn't identify him early as a young child to be a Jedi because the Jedi are looking for people within their world, and the Republic only goes out so far. There was no father. The mom is explaining it here. A lot of philosophy, a lot of religion goes into this. That's very much on the line of the story, a story I'm familiar with. That would be the Immaculate Conception, where Jesus Christ is born of a virgin, and the Father is the Holy Spirit. And then here are the children playing. We got a little Greedo-looking kid down there. Wow, a real Astro droid. Here's Kitster right there. Oh, they're super excited. They're super excited, happy to be there with Anakin. Ooh, na yoka, Annie. Ho, 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 ho. I'm not sure if one of those is George's kid. I don't know. But here comes some more hilarity with Jar Jar. Hey, Jar Jar, keep away from those energy binders. If your hand, now he explains it, everything's explained in here. And then we see later, as we'll learn, that everything that had to do with Jar Jar is really part of the plan. And I don't know if him getting his hand stuck in there was part of the plan, other than to show us that he's pretty much like Goofy. Jar Jar is pretty much based on Goofy, as in Disney's Goofy. Goofy, the character Goofy. And that's what Jar Jar Binks is. He's literally based on Goofy. He's based on Goofy. He is Goofy. And it's the first time we've ever had a character that is like Goofy in this series, the prequels. The starting up of the engines. And these engines are full size, many of them. And you hear the music somewhat anticipating, it's triumphant, but yet we see the mom, and the mom is not really all that happy because she's fears for the life of her son. She's concerned for her son. And now here he's going to clean the cut, and we see here how Qui-Gon is not that quite honest. He's a little bit in the gray area there. Talk about the gray. It's another classic movie with Liam Neeson's The Gray. And then here Anakin is going to get his blood checked here. Ow! But he doesn't know. And Qui-Gon's going to lie to him here. Here. Oh, no, I lied to you. I'm really checking your blood for a midichlorian count. And here we're going to learn a little bit about the midichlorians. I'm going to give you some advanced knowledge on this so you don't trip out. We're going to get a midichlorian count. He needs a midichlorian count. Well, what's a midichlorian? We don't know yet, but we know it's off the chart. There's over 20,000. And these Jedi have midichlorian counts. He says no Jedi has this number of midichlorians in their blood count. And he looks over and he sees the mom. So he knows the mom is part of it. Now, she knows what's going on. Qui-Gon Jinn is not a straight shooter in many cases. He plays it from the hip. He's a we'll wait and see kind of a guy. He's not a whale wait and see kind of a guy. He's a don't worry, the Force will guide us kind of a guy. Now here's this guy who's clearly evil, about to send out some little droids that fly, as you can see. And listen to the sound effects here. And we know that they're going to look for something. He's searching for the Queen. Searching for this ship. Their lost ship. He will find your lost ship. Now look at the size of these engines here. And this was all giant sets, indoor sound stage, green screen, practical effects, miniatures, costumes, CGI. Just amazing. And anybody that says that this movie, no, look, I'm not going to say if anybody says this movie is anything. This movie's an all-time masterpiece, and that's all there is to it. He says Sebulba's going to win. Oh, no. We already see that Sebulba's a creep. He's a weirdo. Look at that, weirdo. He wants to know. He's putting all of his money on Sebulba. Here we see the move now. The storyline goes now. Now the music comes in. I don't know what that is. If that's an oboe or a clarinet. But it kind of comes in, moves into some more strings. Lets us know that something's going on. He's going to throw this chance cube now. The music is, of course, we know that Qui-Gon's going to use the Force power to influence the. Nope, he can't get the mom and the son, so he's just going to get the boy. Hey, listen to the music. Somewhat magical. Hey, and Qui-Gon's reaction is like, well, hey, what do you know? It's all by luck. There are some things the Jedi cannot use their power to accomplish, as we will see later. He tells them now here, Watto says, better stop your friend's betting or I'll end up owning him too. The looks this kid gives. Jake Lloyd is such a great little actor. Man, he deserves an Oscar. Come on, give this guy an Oscar right now. Get him an Oscar now. Again, C-3PO. I want to know what happened to Kitster. This kid. What happened to him? I wonder if he actually auditioned for Anakin. Kitster's right. Of course you will. And then he gives a look, and they get a look. You share a look. It's kind of funny. It's banter. It's going, oh, here's this. Now, there was a deleted scene where George had the director, oh, look at this beautiful miniature set here. Oh, boy. Beautiful. Miniature sets, people in costumes, CGI, popsicle sticks, matchsticks, full-size miniatures. And then I've seen there's been Quadranero. And when the storm out here in Tunisia destroyed a lot of these pod racers that they were working with, and Rick McCollum was out there just trying to pick it up. What a great producer. What an amazing producer to have on this job. Helping George make this movie. So Bulba, and these narrators here, the guys calling the race, I don't know what you call them, the play-by-play or the announcers, whoever they are, they let us know what's going on in the race. And hereafter, while this is going on, you could say that this might be just an episode of Speed Racer. And here we see the record-setting pit droid team straight out of the prequels, or rather straight out of the Three Stooges. There you go. Anakin Skywalker gives the wave. Everybody knows him. And look at the people in the stands. And again, these announcers let us know what is going on. We see the flags coming out. This is an homage to and a style of filmmaking. This is George Lucas. Oh, classic. When has this ever happened to any character in Star Wars? Oh, Pete Yusa. Here's the mom and Anakin share a moment. She tells him to be safe. He says, I will, Mom. I promise. And I hear some evil music. Dangerous. Here comes Sebulba. He's going to break this little piece off of the engine that he's got. And look at the design here, the details. He said, you won't walk away from this one. Don't count on it, Slimo. You're a bantha fodder. Man, classic. This is basically American Graffiti coming up. Whoa, here goes Annie into the pod racer. Remember, concentrate on the moment. Feel, don't think. Use your instincts. That's the first lesson that we have provided to Anakin Skywalker from a Jedi. Concentrate on the moment. Feel, don't think. Use your instincts. May the Force be with you. And now we see Jabba the Hutt. And I don't know what that Jabba the Hutt back there is, but it's one of his cousins, I think. Maybe it was in the Clone Wars, that Hutt. And now they're getting ready to start. There are the flags. And we're going to have this group now they're going to be watching. Far Too Reckless. Look at the way that it's framed. Gets down in her face. You assume too much. This is a great role. Take a look at every time this Padme is on the screen, and keep in mind that Natalie Portman is a great actress. And that's all I'm going to say about that. You got to keep watching the movie with me. Again, we got a lot of spoilers in this, but I'm trying to be delicate as to how I get these spoilers in, because I want you to enjoy the movies as well as enjoy the commentary, which of course I'm talking a lot because it's commentary. And here the engines are starting. The sound effects, Jar Jar, Mino watching. He's the every person in the room. There are the friends, the kids, the small ones, the droids. And these people are going to be, this group of characters, are going to be watching the race from the spectator's standpoint. We have, oh no, look at the size. Now, first of all, Anakin's pod racer doesn't take off. Look at the size of it compared to the other ones. And then there is, I can't remember his name, but Warwick. And then here's Ben Quadranero. And then we see Jar Jar rooting for Annie. And now he's off. He takes off. And it's a classic race. You might be able to just switch back and forth between this and Ben-Hur or an episode of Speed Racer. Because right off the bat, we see one of them eats it. Okay, and we know that Sebulba's this kind of a guy. He plays dirty. He races in a dirty way. And look at the camera on that. And we see some head-on shots coming towards us into this tight. And we have some more into this tight kind of a canyon area. Boy, the camera work on this is gorgeous. Beautiful. Oh, listen to the sound effects. I don't know what that was. It sounded like somebody went, ah! And then the shots of the pilots, the design of the ships. And then, of course, the work that they went through to design these ships. Oh, so much for that guy. And there was a deleted scene where they showed he had a whole family, a wife and kids. And yeah, and here they're watching this on some kind of a screen where we assume that there's a camera that follows them around, and we don't know what that is exactly, but we know that in this universe, in this world, these people can watch the race in real time as if they were there amongst them. Very much like they did in the movie Speed Racers, the Wachowskis' Speed Racer. And here we see round 2, race around the circle number 2. Here we go, the world famous pit droid crew, right out of the Three Stooges. Oh, there you go. Three Stooges. Look at that, Three Stooges. Classic. Okay, Jabba the Hutt, I am not quite convinced that he should have been in this, but hey, I'm not the guy that made the movie. I accept it. It is what it is. I'm enjoying it. I love it. And now the announcers say it. Skywalker's moving up in the field. He has to complete 2 more circuits. So again, C-3PO is explaining to us what is going on. This is not difficult to understand. I can follow it. You can follow it. Any 10-year-old can follow it. Any 10-year-old boy can follow it. Any 10-year-old girl can follow it. Any adult man or woman can follow it. The only person that's not going to follow this is an all-out hater. Look, this isn't complicated. It's not hard to follow. It's not that complicated. You just have to be able to read or listen to someone read to you. And then you have to be able to sit and watch and enjoy a really good movie. And if you have any questions, just hang on because everything will be answered. All your questions will be answered. And here he's throwing, again, he's a cheater. He's a dirty cheater. He plays dirty. He fights dirty. He does not play fair. Skywalker spinning out of control. And now these announcers doing their job. This is great writing on the part of George Lucas, by George, as the writer here is telling us what is going on in the race through this exposition that's also part of the action with these announcers. And here Anakin is going to fix up his shuttle. We know that Anakin can fix anything. He said he can. We believe him. We know that from the original trilogy, episode 4, A New Hope. Look at this. Here goes some more shots here by the Sand People, Tusken Raiders. And in the original trilogy, Obi-Wan Kenobi described Anakin Skywalker as a pilot, a skilled pilot. When he met him, and Sebulba's in the lead, followed by Skywalker. Now, Sebulba's ship, pretty big. His pod racer is very big. Compared to Anakin's, tiny. And again, it's a David and Goliath. It's a kid versus a grown-up. This is very much a kid's movie. And Anakin Skywalker is a little kid. And the mom is very concerned. And now we see he's been forced onto the service ramp. This is not good. Forced onto the service ramp. Notice the language. Notice the exposition. Notice the detail and how this is all explained. It's beginning at the opening title crawl. Turmoil has engulfed the Galactic Republic. Man, who doesn't like that? Who doesn't love that? Who doesn't think that's awesome? Senators floating around, flying around on flying saucers, talking about politics. That's freaking awesome. But we'll get to that. In the meantime, there's some Jawas. And this is the size comparison and contrast we see now between Sebulba's ship and Anakin's ship. And the design, again, Doug Chiang, man, top of his game. Ben Burt, sound effects, top of his game. John Williams, music, top of his game. George Lucas, writer, director, executive producer, top of his game. Okay, so Sebulba takes the lead now. We've seen it, we know it. The music tells us everything we need to know. We could turn the sound off completely and watch this with no sound, no music, no dialogue, just pictures only. And you'd be able to follow, see what's going on here. Now, this is the scene where Ron Howard, now again, I'm referencing going back to some of these other YouTube channel sites. One is Anomaly Inc. with Revenge of the Prequels. One is So Uncivilized. So Uncivilized. One is Honeycut Videos. One is Peach Doors. And one is Coextra. And that's spelled Kohxtra. Coextra. And then, of course, Ahmed Best voicing and physically acting out Jar Jar Binks. Amazing, great casting by George Lucas and his team of professionals there. I don't know who did the casting. It comes up who's in charge of the casting on the credits. There's Kitster watching. Kitster's very concerned. The mom is concerned. Everyone's concerned. We see this. The acting, the facial expressions, the body language. We know, the kids know, this is not complicated. The announcers are telling us. And here comes Sebulba. He's trying to get out. The music. Oh, there goes. Oh, ouch. Boy, this is a big a big wreck here. Let's see what happens to Sebulba. Oh. Poodoo. All right. He's alive, but humiliated. Good. Kids movie. Rated PG. But we didn't have to see Sebulba get killed. We did see a couple of others. Man, that was some pretty vicious stuff. We saw some of those guys one guy get blown up. Now here we got some ADR coming up. And it's not in the best. We see he says, I did it. Yeah. But you can see his mouth moving something else. You can see right there. And then here, Watto's really upset. See, I don't know about that. I'm going to make one comment there and say, yeah, I don't know about Jabba in this movie. But now here, good job, Annie. We owe you everything, Annie. It's so wonderful, Annie. You have brought hope to those who have none. I'm so very proud of you. See, he doesn't like it, man. He's a 10-year-old. Come on. Man, what 10-year-old's not going to love that? Boy or a girl? Who doesn't like this movie? It's an all-time classic. He says, you swindled me. Look at what's going on here now. The interpersonal goings-on of all these people. Whenever you gamble, eventually you lose. I'll go by the shop so you can release the boy. Oh no, he's not gonna give him his part of the deal now. He straight up asked him, "You want to discuss it with the Hutts?" Now, at some point, Qui-Gon lost his beard. Liam Neeson, who plays Qui-Gon Jinn, lost his beard in a storm, and they had to find this beard that he had because it wasn't a real beard. He was wearing a costume beard part of the time, I believe. Maybe the whole time. But it was lost. Now, listen how Qui-Gon talks to Obi-Wan. He's kind of terse, rude almost, I would say, but he is the master. He never says please or thank you. He gives him some winnings. That's money. And here we see the mom's face. He's been freed. The mom knows she has not been freed. Now you can make your dreams come true. The mom knows she hasn't been freed. Look at the props in the back. Basic hanging fasteners. That's all it is. Hinges and fasteners. Our meeting was not a coincidence. Nothing happens by accident. Well, how did they meet? Through Jar Jar Binks. I'll let them talk here while I say this. Nothing happens by accident. Our meeting was not a coincidence. Nothing happens by accident. How did they meet? Jar Jar Binks. Nothing happens by accident. Get out of here, the first line, uttered in direction towards Jar Jar Binks. Now here the mom is somewhat sad, a little bit sad, showing some real emotion, real human emotion here. And the mom is sad. And here Anakin's sad. And the Qui-Gon Jinn's going to try to explain it. Doesn't exactly say exactly what happened. And now Anakin's not as excited as he was. Great acting. Look at this little kid, man. Look at this little boy playing this role. Listen to me. Listen to me. This kid deserves an Oscar. This adult, this grown-up deserves an Oscar. And you can't stop the change any more than you can stop the suns from setting. Now they get this hug here. It's very emotional. And the mom tells him, go, hurry. So here we see some more compassion from Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon is a compassionate person. He's a compassionate Jedi. He's a man of compassion. But also he's a man on a mission, and he's not there to waste time. See some of the props here. Again, C-3PO, brought to life by puppeteers, and voiced by the Sir Anthony Daniels. And we see the point of view shot from C-3PO and the point of view shot from Anakin. Sell me. A classic line. That's classic C-3PO. Now here's an iconic moment. He's getting ready to leave. The sets are built. Again, these are real sets. This is not CGI. Anakin's thinking, he's trying to make a decision. He goes back to his mom. And he says, I can't leave. I can't do it. There it is. I can't do it. The mom wants him to be free, but she loves him. And she herself will miss him. Well, what does your heart tell you? This is a story about relationships, about fathers and mothers and sons and brothers and sisters and nieces and nephews. And listen to the music. Tells us along with the dialogue. The music is part of the dialogue here. What is happening? It's a very sad, but it's meant with purpose. There's a tone there that says, I will come back. And the mom tells Anakin, be brave. Don't look back. Don't look back. And the music swells. Ba, da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Na, na, na. Now we transition back to this guy. This Sith. My Sith apprentice will find your lost ship. And this guy here is evil. You know he's evil. Look at his ship. Look what he rides on. Who doesn't like this? He's riding on some kind of a Sith air cycle. Who doesn't think that's cool? Listen to the music. Okay? Qui-gon, sir. Anakin, drop. Intense. Okay, boring. Who doesn't want to? Oh, boring. Trade disputes. Oh, yeah. 12-year-old couldn't follow this. I'm bored. Too much politics. They're all standing around talking about politics. Trade routes and politics and senators. Yeah, come on. Just watch the movie. Just watch the movie. Look, if you don't think this movie's totally awesome, you're living in the land of Oz. You're living in another reality. And here goes Qui-Gon. Dun, 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 dun. Now look at that ship disappear. Right above his head as the sword goes down. Beautiful framing. Beautiful framing. There's R2 with him. It's the classic team up. There's Anakin, Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and R2. There's R2, Anakin, and Obi-Wan. We shall be patient. Anakin Skywalker, meet Obi-Wan Kenobi. Here they meet for the first time. Iconic meeting in movie history. He's laughing about it. It's the only time I ever see Qui-Gon laugh. Ever. I've never seen Qui-Gon laugh in this movie except in that scene. This guy is not going to take it from the Trade Federation. Look at it. Oh, he just got shoved, man. That robot just shoved him. This is PG, heavy-duty PG. The language they use, the language George uses, is very similar to, reminiscent of, the language used by the U.S. government and the Defense Department of the United States Army and the United States military when they were going after, so to speak, the North Vietnamese during the Vietnam conflict, as it's called. We'll root them out. We'll find them. They live in caves. Anything that lives in a cave can be dug out, can be smoked out. And they did the same thing here. These rumored underwater villages, primitive life forms. Well, these are high technology form of society here. And here is Gungan asleep now, Jar Jar. He's snoring. He's right there, he's in the scene, but he's not doing anything. And then here comes Anakin and Padme, the handmaiden for the queen. And they've already showed this message twice. People are dying, you must answer my call. She's concerned. And here's Anakin again, more of who he is. He made a gift. I carved it out of a chapor snippet. It will bring you good fortune. She says, I don't need this to remember you by. Look at that kid. Look at that kid smile. Just look at that kid smile. Just look at it. And then just listen to the writing. Look at the acting. Listen to the actors here. You miss your mother. It's just explained. Who doesn't understand this? Who doesn't follow this? Who is not following this? Who doesn't follow this? Is this so complicated you can't follow this? Too much politics. Well, now they're on Coruscant. Now we're going to see some politics. Well, you wanted politics? Well, get ready, because here's some politics. And here's the zoom in now. We're going to see for the first time, outside of the hologram, Senator Palpatine. Look at that view. Man, great actor. Ian McDermott. Sir Ian McDermott. I believe, Sir Ian McDermott. I might be wrong about that, but if not, that's what I'm calling him, Sir Ian McDermott. And now here is Terrence Stamp, General Zod himself. And here's the Queen. Pay attention to the Queen. Pay attention to the Queen and the Queen's handmaidens. Pay attention to Padme. This is Supreme Chancellor Valorum. This is the one, the character, the Chancellor that sent the Jedi on this secret mission. And here he is called for a special session of the Senate. Procedure, the Senate, the Supreme Chancellor, and there's more conversation to be had. They're talking about things, politics, procedure, the Senate, up for a vote. Hear your side of the story, so to speak. They're getting in a ship. Yep, and Jar Jar notices that the Queen is being very nice. Keep that in mind. Jar Jar's astute. Very astute. And this is Coruscant. This entire planet's one giant city. I guess that means there's no trees on Coruscant. We'll have to see that. I'll have to see. Now here is some type of an office building for meeting. It's just the senator's office now. Senator Palpatine. There's no interest in the common good. I must be frank, Your Majesty. And here is some more talk about politics, if I may say so. And he's going to kind of talk the Chancellor here. Baseless accusations. And they're going to talk some more politics, but take a look at the set. Take a look at the colors. Take a look at the statues, the props. Take a look at that headdress. Take a look at the costumes here. They're going to talk about this vote of no confidence in Chancellor Valorum. Our only other choice, submit it to the courts. This is a very political world, and they do not shy about talking from politics, away from talking about politics. George wanted these people to talk about politics a lot. And he did, and he had them discuss politics. And this is a political world. This is a political story. Screen transition. Now we see the Jedi Council. And now he's explaining this Sith, who he was battling, but he's trying to figure it out. And the Jedi, we will see later, are deceived by their own pride. But at this point, they just don't know. They don't see. And we will learn throughout the story here of the prequels, that the problem was that the Jedi were blinded by their own ego, by their own pride. And now here Qui-Gon is saying he's encountered a virgins in the Force. And I think Sam Jackson did a great job in this as well. Now we've learned more about midichlorians. It's possible he was conceived by the midichlorians. You received this prophecy. You think that this kid is the one. I request he be tested. And here we see Yoda. And I'm glad that they switched to the CGI Yoda instead of the puppet Yoda. For this one, when I first saw it in theaters, it was a puppet. Now, it's completely CGI. And notice how they all seem to defer to Mace Windu. The one Jedi looks to the left to Yoda. Yoda looks to the left to Mace. And that's a great name, Mace Windu. And I think his name was originally Mace Windy. Keep this in mind, pay attention. Natalie Portman is a great actress. And pay attention to every single scene with the handmaiden. Because Natalie Portman is a great actress. And then, of course, you want to pay attention to every single scene with the Queen and every single scene with any handmaiden. And you're going to want to watch Natalie Portman. Okay, look at this. And I don't know how old Natalie Portman was when she did this movie, but I think she was about 14. Okay, here it is now. Who thinks this is boring? This is flying saucers, senators, representatives flying around, talking about politics, flying around in spaceships. Who doesn't like this? Who doesn't think this is absolutely awesome? And who doesn't think this is awesome? I can't think of anyone. So they're going on about politics to state their allegations. But as you can see, we're meeting the characters, we see their world, we acknowledge that they live in this world. Whether you like it or not, this is the world they live in. If you don't want this kind of stuff to be going on in this world, then don't watch the movie or make your own movie. George Lucas made his movie the way he wanted to make it. And pay attention to the Queen, because it's very important to the story that you follow the Queen and that you follow the handmaidens. It's very important to the story. And here we see where the Chancellor will lose his power, and this comes to great direction, camera work. And look at the makeup here on the Queen. The makeup the Queen is wearing is just perfectly appropriate. I will not defer. I have come before you to resolve this attack on our sovereignty now. And then she says, I was not elected to watch my people die while you discuss this in a committee. And that's just the way it is. And that's just how she feels about it. And she's not joking. And she wants this taken care of. And so she's going to move for a vote of no confidence in Chancellor Valorum. Heavy duty politics. And if you don't think a kid can follow this, or you don't think a kid wants to follow this, then fine. You can make your own movie. This is the movie George made. This is the movie George wanted to make. This is the story George wanted to tell. He wanted to tell stories involving politics and war and human passion and familial love. This is a great scene between these two Jedi here, where they talk and Qui-Gon puts his arm around Obi-Wan and says, "You have much to learn of the living force." It's a really nice touch. And here Anakin is able to pass these tests, it seems. He wants to know. He's going to tell him. The Jedi Council here is very simple. The design is simple with the chairs. And again, pay attention to this kid, Jake Lloyd. He's a great actor. Just look at him acting. Just watch him. And watch the looks that this kid, as Anakin Skywalker, shoots over at Mace Windu. He is not messing around here. The director wanted a certain look and wanted to tell a certain story. And this is a great CGI Yoda. I'm glad they put a lot of work into Yoda here on this one. The facial expressions on Yoda are perfect. Here's an important talk. Yeah, this is a very serious talk here, started by Jar Jar Binks. Now, if you think Jar Jar's only a clown, he's only a silly clown. He says it. Gungans are dying without a fight. We're warriors. We have a grand army. That's why you don't like us, I think. That's about straightforward as you can get. And here comes in the politician. Senator Palpatine has been nominated. A surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one. And here he's going to start campaigning already. He's already campaigning. This guy's a weirdo. He's a typical politician. That's how I read it. Plus the way he's playing him. There's something going on with this dude, I guarantee it. That's my opinion. That's how I read it. I will be Chancellor. And here's every person watching. Every man. The every man in the room, so to speak. Jar Jar Binks. He's watching. He's going back and forth like he's watching a ping pong match. The reaction shots here, perfect. The voice, the cadence here, chosen by Ian McDermott, Sir Ian McDermott, I believe, directed by George Lucas, written by George Lucas. It's perfect. It's some of the most beautiful dialogue. It's perfect. This is one of the greatest movies ever made. And I think they need to come up with a new category for a movie like this. Look at his face. Oh, man. Right before the screen transition, did upturn almost. That dude's a weirdo. I guarantee. Here it is. He's going to be trained. Watch this look. Watch this look. Anakin gives Mace. Look at that look. And that is a look on purpose. That was a look that the director wanted done, that the writer had in the book. He's going to take it on himself to train him. And, of course, we see the defiance here of Qui-Gon. He seems to be headstrong, and he does it his own way, and he's always getting in trouble with the council. And we see with each successive generation of Jedi, master, and teacher, it becomes a different story. It's somewhat more difficult and challenging to carry on the tradition, but it's always done with passion, and it's always done with human personality. And now they're going to try to figure out who these attackers are, who this attacker was, and if he's a Sith or not. And this is how this movie's written. This is the clue we need to unravel the mystery of the Sith. This is straight out of Captain Marvel serial Republic Pictures, or Flash Gordon, or Buck Rogers. And here we see, they must have been talking about disrespect. The boy is dangerous. They all sense it. Here they're having a disagreement about the boy. That's enough for you. Now get on board. Okay, oh, that's kind of serious. And now here we see some more from Anakin. He doesn't want to be a problem. He's not trying to be a problem. Also, he's not full of pride or hubris. He just wants to be a good person. He just wants to help people. Always remember, your focus determines your reality. He says that. Always remember, your focus determines your reality. Now here's the story we're going to need to hear. What are midichlorians? They're microscopic life that reside in all living cells. They live inside of me. Yes, symbiotes. Symbiotes, life forms. Without the midichlorians, life could not exist. We would have no knowledge of the Force. Notice he didn't say midichlorians are the Force. You'll hear them speaking to you. I don't understand. With time and Annie, you will. And then he gives him a little wink. Look, anybody out there that doesn't get midichlorians, you just need to study it a little more. You'll get it. The midichlorians aren't weird. It didn't destroy the Force. It didn't ruin the myth or the mythology of the Force. Midichlorians aren't the Force. Midichlorians are microscopic beings that live inside of all of us. Is the planet secure? Okay. We've taken over the last pockets of primitive life forms. We are in complete control of the planet now. As you can see, Darth Maul is on the way. Yes, my lord. Sith here. Oh no, this has gone too much for them. He says now, Sith here, Sith here. And now, those are the forward stabilizers. And those control the pitch. You catch on pretty quick. And now they're having a talk regarding the plan. Now here's a key element of the story here. Jar Jar Binks is going to come into play here very soon, right now. And Jar Jar Binks, Misa, Your Highness? Yes, I need your help. Okay, now we've gone from get out of here, are you brainless, get out of here, to Jar Jar Binks. Yes, Misa, Your Highness? Yes, I need your help. That's a big difference from get out of here, are you brainless, to I need your help. It's a big difference there. And Jar Jar is on his way to the Gungan city. And we cannot use our power to help her, as you can see. Now we know. And now he's going to say, I'm sorry for my behavior, to disagree with you. It's not my place to disagree with you about the boy. And I'm grateful. It's a touching moment between these two. And then here, the smile, the arm on the shoulder. This is a nice touch. You haven't really seen this yet, but it's now to be seen. And there's a care and a tender concern from the teacher for the student. And now they can't even find the Gungans. The Gungans seem to be wiped out. But now Jar Jar says they might have gone to a sacred place. I will show you. He knows where they went. Maybe they went to this sacred place. When in trouble, they go to this sacred place. I'll show you. So he takes him there. Of course, here's being introduced now. And here's how George is going to bring these two people, these two societies together. Through Jar Jar. Jar Jar Binks. And then, of course, the boss wants to know, who's and that's who's and others. And now here's Queen Amidala of the Naboo. Pay attention, this is very important. Ah, yes. He says, you brought this. You are all Bombad. All of you. We've searched you out. We wish to form an alliance. What? Hold on. Wait a minute. What's going on here? And then he says, who's that? Aha! Do you see? My protection. My loyal bodyguard. And the Jedi have an inside look, a knowing look, I think, as the director, George, has said. He has written this so that but listen to the language here. The Trade Federation has almost destroyed all that we have worked so hard to bring together. The Queen says, we are your humble servants. And then here is the story where Jar Jar is bringing them together to be this now. Friends. They're waiting for his decision. And here it is. The boss of all bosses here is going to laugh about it. You so no thinking you so greater than the Gungans? You don't think you're better than us? Me so like this. Now the music opens up. Being friends. This is very important. Jar Jar brought them together. Jar Jar is the key to this whole thing. Come on, man. Who doesn't like that? Who's a hater? How many haters do we got out there? The haters, we're never done with these haters. And now, of course, Lord Sidious is even thrown off. Man, look at that. The mask, the hidden face, mysterious identity. And now he says, they's a coming. Who's coming? Well, let's see. Here comes Anakin. He's running over. They're here. Look at that ship. Pretty cool. Who doesn't like this? Who's bored by this? Oh, too much politics. Too much talking about trade routes and taxation of trade routes. Oh, no. Now here's Boss Nass and Jar Jar. This is a morality play by George. He's showing kids the world that they live in. It's a world of politics. It's a world of friendships. It's a world of alliances. Look at the props. Now here we're going to see a callback to A New Hope, Star Wars A New Hope, when they look at the plans. Only this time, instead of destroying the Death Star, they're going to have to capture the Viceroy. The Gungans must draw the droid army away from the cities. So this calls back to the original Star Wars where Tanako's going to create a diversion. They enter the palace. Here we go with the Gungans now. Again, this is rated PG. This is a PG. How do they do this without a consequence? Yep. There is a possibility with this diversion. Many Gungans will be killed. We're ready to do our part. Look at this actor. This is a big deal, rated PG. There is a possibility with this diversion that many Gungans could be killed. Yes, great risk. Again, there's going to be a space battle here. There's going to be a space battle. And if the Viceroy is here, if they get away, they could return with another droid army. So we've been given the stakes. That is why we must not fail to capture the Viceroy. Everything depends on it. It's very clearly outlined. The stakes are that high. We've got to get the Viceroy. That's the new Death Star here. We've got to get the Viceroy. And this is another classic line. Wipe them out. All of them. And they have to get permission from this guy, Lord Sidious. Has something to do with the Senate. Has something to do with procedure, bogged down in the Senate. It has something to do with the Senate being the factor that gives people the line of legality or not to perform whatever deeds they want to perform. It's not just people blowing things up. There is a process to it, and they must be legal according to the Senate. Okay, here come this Gungan cavalry army with some infantry, it looks like, and they have high-tech shields. But it looks like the Gungans have these shield-type defenses. We haven't really seen any weapons they have yet, except for these electric pokers, like cattle prods. And here come this highly mechanized, battle-hardened Federation droid army, as we've seen. And the Gungans, they have this shield that seems to be stopping all of the stuff that's coming through. And then here they're signaling. This is the resistance bunch here on the planet. Okay, here we go. Once we get it, stay there. Okay, you already know what's going to happen, the way he said it. Oh, boy, look at that. Nice shot. Okay, they go out, lightsabers drawn, cut them down like butter. Here come the droids, the B-1s, volunteer security forces. They go inside. There's the land speeder. And these two guys again, total clowns. More Nemoidians. I believe they're Nemoidians. Annie, find cover. Get to your ships. The Queen is ordering the troops now. Queen says, get to your ships. The Queen is no more the handmaiden. The Queen, she's giving the orders now. She's in charge. People are getting shot, killed. This is a rated PG, and it's serious. And here we see ships taking off. R2's into the ship. This calls back to the original New Hope, where Luke gets in with R2. Oh, man, that guy got it. Rated PG. And we're getting ready to see this Gungan battle in a minute. Look at this. Here's more stakes. Another ship goes down. You know there's a pilot in that ship, and boom. Okay, this is rated PG. And we see it's a serious. And then here, Anakin is sitting in that ship. He's waiting in that ship. He knows he's supposed to hide somewhere. Here come the ships. They're headed out to the control ship. Here come the other ones. Fighters straight ahead. Roger, Bravo, leader. And here's the space battle we've all been waiting for. Who's bored with this? Too much politics. Trade routes, trade federation, trade routes, politics, Senate talks, procedures. Yeah, who's bored with this? Okay, now here's Jar Jar now. You see, he's more serious. He's taken up, his character is developed. His character is turned. Now here come the mechanized, battle-hardened Trade Federation droid army. The Gungans have not faced these yet. They have seen the lasers. They have seen the cannon. Now they have these other shields. Let's see what's going to happen here. They're going to drop these boomers in here. Now here's where we're going to see some real battle going on. This is what George calls, listen to the music here. He's going to activate the droids. Here they come. This is another commentary by George on the military-industrial complex, if you will, and the industrialized military complex. And there, you're wondering here, this is for the kids, ouch time. If you didn't get it, this is ouch time. Ouch time. Who's not following this? Here they come through the shield. They start blasting away. And here comes the hand-to-hand, face-to-face man-to-man battle, if you will, as the droids stand in for humans. And these Gungans are amphibians with agency and personality. And here we're going to start to see it. Jar Jar's, here goes the Gungans, they're going down. Gungans are falling everywhere. The Gungans are going down everywhere. This is rated PG. There's Anakin looking around. Red group, blue group, wait for me. Stay where you are. But I stay in that cockpit. Okay, you already know what's going to happen. Here we go. The door's open. Oh, yeah, baby. And I read somewhere that scene where Natalie Portman as Queen Amidala and Captain Tanaka, whoever the actor is playing him, I don't know what his name is, they kind of jump back in shock. I think that was the first time they'd ever seen Ray Park in his costume and makeup as Darth Maul. So I believe that when they saw that, they weren't actually completely, totally, 100% method acting. They actually were looking at Ray Park and his makeup for the first time, I think. But that line, we'll handle this. And they all disrobe, take off their outer cloak. Oh, yeah, look at this, man. Some of the best choreography in Star Wars history. And again, this is rated PG, so we're going to see some more people getting killed, more people getting shot. And he's got the major weaponry here now. He's in this fighter jet. And we're going to see him blast through these shields in a minute. This is an oops moment. Maybe this one. Maybe this one. It's a kid's movie. Boom. Boom. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at that. That kid deserves an Oscar. Jake Lloyd deserves an Oscar. Let's go. The Queen is giving orders now. It's on automatic pilot. Everything's explained. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand it. And we see the stakes are still somewhat up there. They're being fired on. Try to override it. They're heading off. Look at this. Listen to the music. Duel of the Fates. Oh, down goes Qui-Gon. Here comes Obi-Wan slinging the sword. Here we go. Oh, yeah. This is quite a battle here. Watch this. Qui-Gon's going to hit the wall in just a minute. And there goes Obi-Wan and Darth Maul versus Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon, hits the wall. Man, this is brutal. This is some of the best ever. Man, forget Red Letter Media. What do they know? They don't know anything they're talking about. Those guys are living clowns, except for Rich. Oh, look at that. Faint. And then Darth Maul jumping over. They're on these high ledges. This is the power area here for the entire city. And now here we see more laser battles right here in the halls of the Naboo capital. And this calls back to the laser battles in the Death Star while the lightsaber duel is going on between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, and also the power tractor beam power centers as Obi-Wan went to shut that off. And here come the destroyers. Here come more PG. I mean, watch these Gungans going down. Now watch this battle here. Hand-to-hand combat between this guy on the left. This Gungan is pounding this droid. Boom. Man, he's like pounding this droid. It's a hand-to-hand combat. This Gungan and this droid, all these Gungans. It's a battle between Gungan and droid, hand to hand. He's pounding him with something. I don't know what he's pounding him with. The deflector shield is too strong. Here come the lasers. This guy gets it. Oh, he's out. This is rated PG all the way. Listen to the music. It gives you a sense. Listen, here he says this is tense. In case the kids have a hard time understanding it. He just said, this is tense. Get us off this autopilot. This is going to get us both killed. He's playing for the kids, but he's also showing us a serious happening here. This is war. People are going to be killed. This is tense. It's kind of frightening, but it's making it accessible to kids. Politics, war, lies, manipulation, people cloaked in the shadows, evil versus good, good versus evil. Man, who thinks this is boring? Too much politics. Come on. Who doesn't like that? Okay, look at that. Oh, yeah, beautiful. Everything, the sets, the extras. Here's more laser battles here. The droids, they're getting shot, and every time that one of these droids gets shot, it is like how a human would look if they got shot in the same scene in a movie. So these droids, here they go with ascension guns, very Star Wars. Here comes the Queen, is going to be the one that blasts open the window. Good choice by the director. Beautiful music, the choice there, the statues. I don't know how much of that is actually real or how much of that is miniature or CGI. This movie is definitely a CGI getting better, because this sets the gold standard, man. Oh, look at that. Choreography. Yeah, I got to meet Ray Park one time at WonderCon or WizardCon, and he was a super nice guy. And also I got to talk to him on a panel and ask him a question on a panel, but I got to meet him in person and shake his hand, and he's a super nice guy. That's all I have to say about that. Except that you can go online and see the video footage of it. Mr. Marvel Man goes to WonderCon, or Mr. Marvel Man goes to Comic-Con. Here it is. Yeah. And this is one of the best parts of the movie, where Qui-Gon is battling the Sith apprentice. Oh, look at that. It leaps over. These guys are trying to chop each other in half, man. They're not messing around. And Qui-Gon's and Obi-Wan's attitude here is got to get to this guy, but it's not going to happen. So here, Qui-Gon is going to sit down and practice some breathing techniques, as he is going to look at this through the lens of, when you're quiet, you will hear the midichlorians speaking to you. And here he's going to be practicing the breathing technique. Oh no, here goes their power source. There goes the shields. It's time to retreat. Now here you're going to see a lot of dead Gungans on the ground here. Look at this. This is no joke. This is rated PG, a lot of dead Gungans. Let's see if we can point them out, not to be morbid, but in the midst of all of this comedy with Jar Jar, you're going to see a lot of dead Gungans. Gungans were killed. You're going to see them laying on the ground. And here goes, uh-oh, big boomers. You got to see a lot of comedy, Goofy, Buster Keaton here. And here we see Jar Jar moving about as if he's a cartoon character, because he is. But watch these Gungans here. They're going to be laying on the ground. They're dead. They've been killed in the battle. There they are, laying 1, 2, 3, 4, at least. And again, this is not a blood and gore fest. George isn't trying to traumatize little kids, but this is rated PG, and he's making a point. There is a possibility that in this diversion, many Gungans will be killed, and they are killed. And then we see these droids are killed, and they play the part of humans, but they're not humans. But there are more dead Gungans, more dead Gungans, more dead Gungans. They're all over the place. This is not without consequence here. Oh, there they go. Again, Gilligan and Skipper. Very comical. Very Roger Rabbit. Uh-oh. Put down your weapons. The Queen is giving the orders here. Notice, the Queen is giving the orders. Put down your weapons. Back to the ship. This is George Lucas's specialty here. Multiple stories going on and multiple endings at one time. This is the ultimate kids movie right here. Kids movie. It's great. Who doesn't love this? Who's bored with this? Too much politics? I'm trying to stop it. I'm trying to stop it. And then here we have a classic line. Oops. Another oops line. Here we go. Everything's overheated. Trying to get it started. This is not good. Clipping it on and off, flipping it on and off. And Ron Howard was part of the team that came in and gave George some ideas for some re-edits and reshoots. And one of those was how he shot the pod race scene with Anakin trying to get his pod racer to work. He told George, I think you need to add some more time to show Anakin trying to get his pod racer to work after Sebulba messed it up. And he did, and it worked. And then here is Qui-Gon. Listen to the music. Minimal, no music, just noise. Just the dialogue of the lightsaber. And here we see the look, the reaction. Oh! This gets me every time. I can't believe that just happened. That was, like, it's too much. That guy's pure evil, man. Now here we see the aftermath of this battle. The Gungans are being captured. The bodies are being piled up. The droids, again, represent bodies, humans. This is a war rated PG. Hands up. My give up. Oh, no, the skipper and Gilligan. Here comes the Queen to see the Trade Federation leaders, Newt Gunray. I don't know what the other guy's name is. Yes, there we go. Try and sign the treaty. More politics. Sign the treaty in this debate. Uh-oh. Here comes the other Queen, and we know that's not really the Queen because of the last scene where the Queen revealed herself. Of course, in the movement here, they don't know that, and possibly the audience is still fooled. But just in case you didn't know, this is the Queen right here. And they're shocked. And this is the classic Star Wars move here. The doors come down, bringing the door down. And now, Viceroy, we'll discuss a new treaty. Oh, man. Obi-Wan's not joking around. And this is a part of it he kept in there of Ewan McGregor just warming up. But the director said, leave it in. Let's leave it part of the scene. That was just Ewan McGregor warming up before the scene. It wasn't supposed to be in the scene. George left it in the scene made it part of Obi-Wan's character of him bouncing up and down to warm up. But that was just Ewan McGregor. But look at the choreography on this. Man, this is some of the best ever. It remains the gold standard. This choreography remains the gold standard for lightsaber dueling. And here we see Ray Park. This guy, I got to shake his hand. He's a great person, really nice. And look at this. Oh yeah, head up close. Oh! Pushes him over, force push. And here, this is a great stunt work, by the way. It's great special effects. And here he kicks his lightsaber down the shaft. And Obi-Wan, again, switching over to Anakin, multiple endings at one time. The shields are back up. Take this, kids movie. And this, boom, this is the big guns, baby. Whoa, out they go. Oh, you know they hit something big there. Don't know what that was. Oops. Kids movie. Oops. Kids movie. Oops. Impossible. Nothing can get to our shield. We seem to be losing power. Something's the matter with our main reactor. Let's get out of here. Kids movie. Perfect. Here it goes, blows up. It's blowing up from the inside. We didn't hit it. Calls back to the Death Star blowing up. Luke blows up the Death Star. Now this is pod racing. Man, it's a classic line. Look, one of ours out of the main hangar. Woohoo! Kids movie. This is a classic line right here. Woo! Yeah! Ha ha! Classic movie. That's one of the classic scenes right there. Look at that. A real model getting blown up. That's an actual model being blown up. So you want to take a look at special effects? Just watch the prequels. Miniatures, watch the prequels. Real sets, real models, watch the prequels. The CGI getting better, watch the prequels. Now the Gungans are celebrating. Look at that one guy, man. He's doing I think he was doing like, I don't know what dance he was doing, but he was doing something, man. I don't know who came up with the dance for these Gungans, but each one had a different dance. That one Gungan had hands up and down, pants on the ground, pants on the ground. Man, he was going for it. Here he goes. And when I saw this in the theater, I was like, oh, he's going to get that sword. And he got it. He got that laser sword, and down Darth Maul goes. Oh, man. When we saw that in the theater, I bet you everybody was like, oh. And here he runs over to Qui-Gon. And when I saw this in theaters for the 25th year anniversary, it still had the same power, the same effect, had the same impact on me. And I was there I was there watching it with my wife, and she looked over, and I hear is Qui-Gon saying, I want you to train the boy. He's the chosen one. And Obi-Wan gives him his word, he will. But she said, looked over, and later she told me these two kids, these boys were over there, and they were just watching that scene where Obi-Wan is fighting Darth Maul, just mouth agape, man. They were just sitting there with their elbows on their knees, watching, mouth wide open, eyes wide open, watching that scene. Meanwhile, I'm crying like a baby when Obi-Wan goes over to hold Qui-Gon while he's dying. Now here's Captain Tanaka here. He says, Kiss your Trade Federation, goodbye. And he gives him a little head nod like, let's get out of here. Classic. That guy's great. Now here comes, you know who, the politician. Yep, here he comes. Senator Palpatine. Yep, Senator Palpatine. But we'll find out he's now Chancellor Palpatine. Yep, he's very happy. He's just been elected Chancellor. Yeah, there's Rick McCallum in the back of the Queen. The producer, there he is, right there, right in back of the Queen, playing an extra. That's Rick McCallum right there. He's the guy in the middle of those two bearded guys. He's the guy without the beard. And here's an iconic moment in movie history and in Star Wars history. And this is a great performance by Frank Oz as Yoda. And this originally was a puppet, but now they've replaced it with CGI. The CGI getting better. Nevertheless, grave danger I fear in his training. And then here he says, I gave Qui-Gon my word. I will train Anakin. Without the approval of the council if I must. Qui-Gon's defiance I sense in you. Need that you do not. Very human, if I may say it like that, Yoda is. Your apprentice, Skywalker, will be. Oh boy, that's one of the most powerful moments in movie history. So well written, so well acted out. Ewan McGregor and Frank Oz. Now here we see the funeral of Qui-Gon Jinn. And here's the lineup. Jar Jar, Palpatine, Queen Amidala, Obi-Wan, and Anakin. Just look at this kid. Watch his facial expressions here and tell me he doesn't deserve an Oscar. You'll be a Jedi. Now watch his facial expression. Excitement, worry, fear, sadness. I can't tell you again. He needs an Oscar. I've got to tell you again. Another classic line. But which was destroyed. No more, no less, but which was destroyed. The master or the apprentice. The master or the apprentice. Classic line. Who doesn't love that movie? And look at this. You see Boss Nass, Anakin, Obi-Wan, Queen Amidala, Palpatine. Man, I'm going to tell you something. No spoilers beyond this. Ian McDermott, Sir Ian McDermott, if that's his actual title, that dude's an all-time classic. And so is Natalie Portman. And I'm not going to give any more than that. You got to watch all of them. And you got to watch episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in that order. And you can also watch the Clone Wars, and you can also watch Clone Wars. Just don't watch The Acolyte. Okay, here we have this award ceremony. Of course, rhymes with, calls back to Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. Here's Jar Jar with his comedic physicalities here. Here's Yoda, very serious. And that other scarred up looking Yoda looking character. Now here comes Queen Amidala. There's Anakin Skywalker, the new Jedi Padawan Anakin Skywalker. There's R2-D2. Peace! The first war, the first line. Here, look at this. Jar Jar gives old Captain Tarpus a pat on the back. The skipper and Gilligan smile at each other. Beautiful smile. Natalie Portman's great in this. Ewan McGregor, and then here it is, Boss Nass. Written, directed by George Lucas, produced by Rick McCallum. Yes, produced by Rick McCallum. Executive producer George Lucas. Director of photography David Tattersall, BSc. Production designer Gavin Bouquet. Edited by Paul Martin Smith, GBFE Ben Burt. Costume designer Tricia Bigar. And the list goes on and on. Casting by Robin Gerland. Thank you, Robin Gerland. Sound design, Ben Burt. Wow, what a great movie. Music by John Williams, top of his game. Top of his game here, starring Liam Neeson. And Ewan McGregor. Man, listen to that music. Duel of the Fates. Natalie Portman. Man, this movie's one of the all-time masterpieces. Jake Lloyd, Pernilla August. Jake Lloyd deserves an Oscar. And Frank Oz as Yoda. And now, Ian McDermott, co-starring Oliver Ford Davies, Hugh Quarshie, Ahmed Best, Anthony Daniels, Kenny Baker. With Terrence Stamp as Chancellor Valorum. Design director Doug Chang. And visual effects supervisors John Knoll, Dennis Miran, ASC, Scott Squires. Animation director Rob Coleman. And production supervisor David Brown. The list goes on. Live action creature effects supervisor Nick Dudman. Chief makeup artist Paul Engelin. First assistant director Chris Newman. Second assistant director Bernard Bellew. Man, I'm running out of... I can't read that fast. Look at the cast here. Kenny Baker, Frank Oz, Terrence Stamp, Brian Blessed, Ray Park, Warwick Davis, Stephen Spears, Benedict Taylor, Christina De Silva, Silas Karsten, Greg Proops, Jabba the Hutt as himself, Oliver Warpole, Con Bowfield, Phil Eason, Don Austin, Lindsay Duncan, Chris Sanders, Mark Silk, Tiger, voice of Tay Howe. And again, beautiful movie as we listen to the end music credits and watch the end credits. Let me say this again. Jake Lloyd deserves an Oscar. This movie deserves an Oscar. They need to come up with an all-new category for how to give Oscars, and they need to come up with an all-new category for who decides on these Oscars. Now look, you may not agree that this movie deserves an Oscar, but this movie at the very least deserves a Golden Globe. I would think this movie deserves a Golden Globe. Now, if you don't think this movie deserves a Golden Globe, and maybe it did get a Golden Globe, I don't know. Maybe it did not get a Golden Globe. But one thing for sure, it deserves an Oscar. The music, top of his game, John Williams here. The sound effects, Ben Burt. The design, Doug Chang. And again, I want to make sure to say with all due respect, I don't know if I'm pronouncing Doug Chang's name correctly. I don't know if I'm pronouncing anyone's name correctly. And I don't know if Ian McDermott is a Sir, a Knight, or not. But I'm going to call him Sir Ian McDermott. Just like I'm going to call Sir Anthony Daniels Sir Anthony Daniels. But it was great to see Terrence Stamp in this role. Of course, General Zod. He's playing Chancellor Valorum in this one. The costumes, the Nemoidians, the Trade Federation, the droids, great characters. These are straight out of the Three Stooges, the new stormtroopers. The Jedi cut them down like butter. And I'm not an expert in movies. I'm not an expert in Star Wars lore or anything like that. I do Wikipedia. I follow, again, these are some of the resources that I've used. I want you to take a look at these guys, these channels. Anomaly Inc. And this one you'll see the Revenge of the Prequels on Anomaly Inc. So Uncivilized. That's another channel. So Uncivilized. The first one is Anomaly Inc. ANOMALYINC. Anomaly Inc. A lot of stuff on the prequels there. Anomaly Inc. And then this channel, So Uncivilized. Got a lot on the prequels, a lot on Star Wars, a lot on George Lucas, and a lot on movies. So Uncivilized. These are YouTube channels. And then Co-Extra. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but here's how I spell it. K-O-H-X-T-R-A. Co-Extra. And then another channel here, a great channel, I recommend this one, Honeycut Videos. And you spell Honeycut like this. Honeycutt. And then the next word is videos. And then finally, Peach Doors, Peach, and then the next word is Doors, Doors. And these are some of my principal, and listen here, we're going to hear this music, the final breath here. Listen to that breath there. Yes. And you know that is Star Wars. The Phantom Menace. That's Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. And that was the watch commentary presented by Mr. The Prequels presents The Prequels. Now, if you want to learn more about the prequels, just go online. You can study them. You can learn all about them. You can watch them. I recommend you watch these movies in the following order. Star Wars Episode 1, and then Episode 2, and then Episode 3. And then Star Wars Episode 4, Episode 5, and Episode 6. That's how I recommend you watch these movies. But if you've already seen the original trilogy, go ahead and watch them again, starting with Episode 1. We just got done watching Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I did a whole watch commentary, a whole watch through and commentary on the movie. That's just my view, my take, my observations on the movie. You can learn a lot about the history of these movies and a lot about the maker of these movies. Thank the maker for providing us with these movies. Thank George Lucas. If you want to learn more about some of the history of this franchise, if you will, which I do not want to call it a franchise, but you can call it a franchise, if you will. This movie franchise called Star Wars, as originally created by and as is still the original, is the creation of George Lucas. And anything that George Lucas has not created and was not part of, I'm just going to go ahead on the record and say that's not real Star Wars. And that's not to say I'm trash talking to anybody that worked on those movies or did any of the work on those movies. It's just not real Star Wars. Anything that George Lucas did not have a hand in creating or have a hand on making or had a hand to be a guide in the process of making, that's not real Star Wars. And you can see all of that in the books. You can get all of my books. You can get any of the books. There's a lot of books out there. You can read my books. You can read some of the stuff that I got on this channel. But I recommend you you go to the following channels, and you see, I'll try to put these in the description. Anomaly Inc. That's one channel, Anomaly Inc. And the Anomaly Inc. has a lot of stuff on the prequels, particularly Revenge of the Prequels, particularly the legacy of George Lucas, particularly Star Wars and the style of George Lucas and George Lucas. And that's Anomaly Inc. And then, of course, this channel, YouTube channel, So Uncivilized. And that's 2 words. So Uncivilized. And on that channel, you're going to get a lot on Star Wars, George Lucas, movies in general, the prequels. Good stuff. So Uncivilized. I want to thank these channels, the operators of these channels, the ones that did the research on this, the ones that made this possible, my watch through with the level of intelligence I have communicated, which wasn't much, because I'm not an expert in Star Wars, but I love the movies, and I love the prequels. And maybe you love the prequels. And if you do, you're going to want to learn more about it by checking out Anomaly Inc. and by checking out So Uncivilized. And then you're going to want to look at Honeycut Videos. And that's 2 words, Honeycut, and then the second word is videos. And how you spell that is, Honeycut is spelled like this, HONEYCUTT, and that is Honeycut. And then the second word is videos, VIDEOS, and that's Honeycut Videos. 2 words, YouTube, Honeycut Videos. And you can learn a lot about movies, Star Wars, George Lucas, the prequels, Honeycut Videos. A lot of good stuff there by Honeycut Videos. And then finally, next on the list rather, Peach Doors. And this is 2 words. Peach is the first word, and the second word is doors. And that's spelled like this. Peach is spelled P-E-A-C-H. And then the second word is doors. D-O-O-R-S. And that channel is called Peach Doors. That's 2 words, Peach Doors. And what struck me about that channel was a video that this particular channel had on the prequels as to why this person loves the prequels. And I listened to it, and I agree with everything on there, and I want to pass that on to you. So look that up, Peach Doors. And then finally, this is the one that I saved for last because I don't know how to pronounce this, but I do know how to spell it. And it looks like it's pronounced coextra. And it's spelled, there's one word, coextra. And it's spelled like this, K-O-H. H like Harry Osborn, Harry. And then the letter X, like X-Men. And then T, like turmoil, has engulfed the Galactic Republic, turmoil. And then R, like run around. And then A, like A, the Fonz, A. So that's K, and then O, and then H as in Harry, X like X-Men, T like turmoil, R like run, A like A as in apple. And that's coextra, K-O-H-X-T-R-A, coextra. And they got a lot of good Star Wars stuff on there, a lot of good George Lucas stuff, a lot of good prequels content. I'll read those through one more time without the spelling. Anomaly Inc., So Uncivilized, Coextra, Honeycut Videos, Peach Doors. And I want to give the spelling again one more time on Coextra. Coextra, K-O-H-X-T-R-A. And that's it. That's what I got. Enjoy. I recommend you go and watch these movies on your own. Do your own watch commentary. Have fun with it. And thank the maker. Tell George Lucas what you think. Go online, and if you enjoyed the movies, tell somebody that you enjoyed the movies. Do some research on what kind of work George did to make these movies happen, and you'll be even more grateful for these movies. You'll be even more grateful to the maker. Thank the maker. And friends, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining me on this watch commentary on the Phantom Menace, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, written and directed by George Lucas, producer Rick McCollum, executive producer George Lucas, an all-time epic masterpiece. And then, of course, that's my opinion. But you watch, you decide. And until we meet again, dear friends, remember these wise words from the wise and powerful Jedi, Qui-gon Jinn. Always remember this: your focus determines your reality. And may the Force be with us. With special thanks to the following YouTube channels: Anomaly Inc., So Uncivilized, Co-Extra, Honeycut Videos, Peach Doors,